still going. Just a second. Okay. Okay, we're live.
Okay. All right, good. I'd like to call the meeting to order then. I didn't know if someone had tried to reach out to Jocelyn to see if she was planning on joining us. If
yes,
she comes.
Yes, Lori, I did that.
Yeah, I'm letting her into the meeting now via Zoom.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, we'll wait for her then.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just signed it.
If you want to stop the recording and then we can restart it again.
Okay. This is Joycelyn. I'm here.
Oh, wonderful. We wanted to wait for you, Joycelyn. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks for having this meeting.
Yeah. So I will call the meeting to order. And so Teresa, do you need to do or Ellie, did you need to do a roll call?
Yes, I can do that. Lori.
Here.
Joycelyn.
Here.
Michael.
Here.
Ron.
Here.
Thank you. All present.
Wonderful. So our next agenda, we will approve the agenda.
So
Voting.
moved.
Yes.
I'll
thank
move.
you.
Joycelyn.
A second, Michael.
I second it. Yeah, second, Michael.
All right. So our agenda has been approved.
You need to actually do the vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have so few. All right. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed? Are there any abstaining? Okay, then approved. Okay, so we have the approval of the minutes from May 16th of 2020. That was from our last meeting where we did the agenda, the budget. And so we have
I'll
to.
move. This is Joycelyn. I'll move approval of the minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Sure, I'll second it, Michael.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed? All right. Any abstaining? All right, then we'll approve the minutes. Thank you. All right, so Brian, are you going to give us the technology review?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. If we want to go ahead and jump into that, just kind of something I put together for us, just kind of like a year, like last year in review, since we're at the end of our, starting a new fiscal year. So, whoops, I'm on the wrong screen. Hold on. There we go. So I kind of put together just kind of some stats from the end of the year of just stuff that we kind of got done last year. And one of the things I wanted to do with this is just kind of point out that we do, as part of my group, I have 3 departments. So I have the digital learning department, I have the library systems department, and I have the IT department. And so we do a lot with technology, just besides just managing servers and network and PCs and that kind of stuff. So I kind of want to throw together some numbers of things that we got done in the last year. So starting with learning and training, our digital learning department completed 134 virtual programs during the course of the year. That's about 3 a week, which is really good. We started back up with in-person programming around the end of February, I think.
Correct.
And so our in-person programs, we did 48. Again, that's about 3 a week. So we kind of averaged about six technology programs per week, system-wide. I think we do, the digital learning department also does all of our staff and in-house training for a lot of our technology that we use and software that we use. So we had 79 in-person staff-led training. And then we also have like a learning management system we call the MCPL Learning Center. That has a lot of virtual programs that they create, a lot of little 5-minute, 10-minute things that they can go, I just need to remember how to do this one thing. And so they can hop in real quick and do that. We had 300 and almost 20 of those last year. So
Brian, may I ask a question? So is this learning and training mostly for our internal staff and our libraries internally?
the virtual programs and the in-person programs are for our patrons.
Okay.
And then the staff training there, the last two items are for our in-house staff. So the department has two groups of people. They have in-house trainers. They have 3 of those, and then they have that do all of our staff side stuff. And then they have what's called a consumer technology specialist, and they are responsible for all of the community-led programming for our patrons. So they develop all those programs and go out and actually they lead the vast majority of them. It used to be the branch staff had a lot of what we call technology associates, and they would do a lot of the in branch programming. But because of COVID and a lot of other things, we don't have a lot of that staff now. So the consumer tech specialists actually lead a lot of those themselves. So that is a department of 6 people and a manager. So 7 total. Moving down. So the virtual branch, we call our website the virtual branch. So I got together kind of some of the bigger numbers. There's tons of numbers from the website. So our research and learning, like all the databases we have several hundred of those. We had almost 1.1 million sessions this past year, which was really good through COVID, and before that number is just very stable from year to year. So that was a really good number for us this year. We also virtual branch sessions. So this is people that come to the website and actually hang around on it for a little bit. It's not just like they go to the page and then move away. It's if they spend time on the site. We had 4.6 million sessions on the website. Virtual branch unique users. So this is a monthly average. So this is per month. We had almost 170,000 unique people using the site every month. And then online catalog, that's our where you go to manage your account and place holds on books and search for books and everything. We had 2.7 million sessions on that resource. And then we also have events. We have all other kinds of things going on the website. Those are kind of some of the bigger numbers from the website from the past year. Any questions about those?
Yeah, Michael here.
Yeah.
What are unique users?
So that's me versus like Susan. We can tell if you're a unique user by the browser cookie that gets set in your browser. So that's 170,000 different people used the website on average per month. We don't know where you live or who you are or anything like that. It's just a browser cookie. Now, if you clear that and you come back, then you get counted as a unique number. So that number is a little, not 100%, but it's a way for us to tell that there's, different people using the site. It doesn't all look like just one person. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. So the unique just stands for individual people, in essence.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's just, like I said, that's just it's like a monthly average. And then on down to internet access. So public computers, these are the PCs that people would come into a branch and actually use. We have PCs and laptops. We had 204,000 sessions last year. Guest Wi-Fi, we measure that. So people that bring their own devices in and use our Wi-Fi and our internet in branch. We had 295,000 of those sessions. Chromebook to go, those are the Chromebook laptops that we check out to the public. We just started that in December of 21, so we didn't even have a full year. of those. We had 922 checkouts of those. There's about 150 of those devices that we check out, 175, I'm sorry. And then Wi-Fi to go, those are the mobile hotspots through T-Mobile that we had. We had 6,100 checkouts of those, and that was a full year of those. And we have 530 of those devices that we check out to folks, and those are gone. The Wi-Fi to go hotspots are gone all the time. There's a waiting list for those. And then the last thing that we kind of manage under technology is Career Online High School. That's the diploma program that we have in conjunction with Kansas City Public and Literacy KC, where students can, it actually is an accredited high school. It's not like a high set or a GED program. And there is career prep and college prep and things like that that go into it. Last year, we had 23 graduates of that program. And 13 of those were what we consider, they consider themselves MCPL patrons, so our library patrons. Whenever they sign up for the program, they say, I'm signing up because I work with Literacy KC, or I'm a patron of Kansas City Public. But 13 of those kind of identify as our patrons.
So Brian, I have a question regarding that. So for those students, for instance, there's 13, do we provide like a Chromebook, or do we provide the Wi-Fi for them to use throughout the year, or how are they? I mean, like, I know that we're doing this, but it's some questions that pose, hey, if we're doing that, or do we have the ability to do that?
We do if they just want to use one of our hotspots or Chromebooks. Most have to take a prerequisite to see if they meet the technology requirements. It really just requires an internet, and most have it.
Okay.
So yeah, and then if they need to come into a branch and use one of our PCs, or Kansas City Public's or Literacy KC has PCs that people can come in and use, then they can do them as well through any of the partners. So
when we say that, like, I just wanted to clarify that 13 were from MCPL. They just say that that's their library that they use,
right.
Or how
right.
are they?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. When they sign up, they say, I'm an MCPL patron. And so we just kind of tag them as that when they go into the program.
And where would the other 10 be? Like Kansas City Public Library, or through a school, or?
Kansas City Public or Literacy KC.
Okay.
Those are the two partners that we work with on the program. So
Might mention graduation last two.
yeah, we did have a graduation ceremony in conjunction. Literacy KC does an annual, they have a high set program. And so they have an annual graduation ceremony for their high set students. And so we combined that this year, the Career Online High School with their program. So we did have a graduation ceremony a couple of weeks ago. And I think we had about 8 students there of the 23 that graduated. They had a ton of high set students. I mean, they had 30 or 35 high set students there. And they had 70 or 75 high set people. They had a lot.
They had a lot.
And what does high set mean?
That's the GED equivalent, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly
they
what it's.
renamed it in Missouri because they changed the test.
Yeah.
So it's the
Yeah.
high school
High school
HIS
equivalent.
equivalency test.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I had a quick kind of question comment. The part of the reason why Career Online High School is under technology is most of the time, if not exclusively, while there are live instructors available for that, a lot of this is accessed through the databases and through the systems for Career Online. So they're doing it a lot online, which is why. And part of Brian's staff and the library staff provide assistance to students who need help with being able to access all the things that are available online. So that's all I have.
Yeah. Yep. And a lot of what we do is if they take the prerequisite course and they don't feel like they have the skills necessary, or any of those types of things, then we'll funnel them into one of our programs, into one of our training classes. Like I was talking to you earlier on about, like, I need help learning how to use a PC or setting up an email account, or I need to get these prerequisites out of the way first. So we'll help them do that before they get totally into the program. So it's been super successful. We've been, did I have that when I was in IT, or did I start that when I was? Yeah, I mean, it may
It's
be,
been around, we've had it for quite a while.
it's been close to 10 years, 8 to 10 years, something like that.
So Brian, are those classes kind of in that learning and training that you mentioned up above, or are those separate?
No, that's provided through the Career Online High School program. They have their own instructor, their own teachers,
Nice.
accredited teachers and all that kind of stuff. So all we do is just vet the student, take them through the prerequisite stuff. We actually do a quick interview to kind of find out what their goals are and everything. And then once they complete the prerequisite course in a certain amount of time, then the online high school just takes over from there. So yeah, it's been a great program. The graduations are great. We've had a couple here. Kansas City Public has had a couple of them. So they're really fun to do. So we hope to get back to having just a Career Online High School graduation next year, just for those students. So
They do all get caps and gowns and certificates and
yeah, they get a diploma. I mean,
they
it's
get a
like
diploma, they get all of that. So,
yeah.
and their families cheer them on just like a normal graduation
Yeah.
would be.
It's a lot of fun. So
That's great. Yeah.
So that's a quick look at kind of what we just stats wise what we do. So obviously there's a ton of other stuff that these groups do, but it's just good to kind of see what I mean when I put it all together. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we did a lot. So
Yeah, it's great.
mentioned buildings, and we had a lot of, just like a lot of places, we kind of had some staff turnover this year, so we had to deal with those things. We had some managers that left, and we had to kind of make some adjustments there. So yeah, so it's been a fun year. So
That's great. Well, thank you for putting all that together. I know that it's easy to see it on one sheet of paper, but I know it's a lot of work to put that together. I appreciate you doing that. I have a couple questions. Just recently, I think it was yesterday, maybe it was Saturday or Friday, I don't know what day it was, the Kansas City Public Library announced that they got a grant for like $8.5 million for technology to be used for computers. How do you think that will impact our numbers? Do you think that we'll have less users, or you think it will remain the same because they kind of serve a different base? Or
I think in general, it'll probably stay the same. Because we serve a lot of the suburban, rural, and I mean, our patrons can go back and forth. We have a reciprocal card agreement, so as long as you have a card with one of us, you can get a card with them and use their services. Same with Johnson County and Kansas City, Kansas, North Kansas City. We have agreements with all of them. But generally, whenever we start a service and they don't, or they start a service and we don't, it doesn't seem to impact us that much. We share a lot. So
yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was curious when I heard that, because it's very exciting that that type of a grant was out there. And
they're doing a little bit different tack with their Chromebooks stuff. I think they're going to go for like a very long-term checkout or something like that. A lot of library systems just will give people the equipment and they'll let them have it for like a year. And so I think they're probably going to maybe go that tack because they have a lot of Chromebooks. They have a ton of them. So we'll see what direction they end up going. But so.
And how long are ours out for?
They're
6
just 2 weeks. They're just 2 weeks.
Okay.
And they can renew them one time. If there's not any holds on them or a holds line for them or a wait list, then they can just renew them and just keep using them. But the hotspots are, I don't know how many hotspots we could have. We could have a ton of those, and I think they would all be checked out. So I don't know what the magic number is. We were hoping when we got the 500 or so that there would be some sitting around for people to get, but that just has not happened. They stay checked out all the time, all the time. So I don't know that there is a magic number for those. So
Yeah. Brian, I just wanted to give kudos to making those hotspots available because you never know what way they're going to be used. I think traditionally we think, oh, just people need access to the internet or people need access to apply for jobs, but they're being used in all kinds of unique ways, like people going on vacation and wanting to make sure they have internet access. Or just this past weekend, the robotics team used it in their pit to monitor. They checked one out so they can have a laptop in the pit to monitor what was going on with the live feed with the robots. So you never know what and how these will be used. And it's a really great service. And I would like to see us maybe explore some ways to maybe, I mean, it's such a good, even people who have Wi-Fi access occasionally can use these. And I would like to see us continue this program.
the interesting thing we found out when we get a lot of the survey results back on these, we asked what type of device that you were connecting to these. And believe it or not, one of the highest ones was cell phones. And at first it was like, why? But then it kind of hit us is that a lot of people that have serious income challenges, they have to choose between an internet connection or a cell phone, a smartphone. And so they don't want to burn their data all the time. So they're getting these to actually save their data and they use them to do that with them. And so it made perfect sense once we thought about it for like a second. But yeah, there is a lot of people that use them just with their cell phones. And so, and data caps and data throttling is a real thing for people that are on a serious budget because they can't afford the unlimited plans and all of that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, and I like the idea of being able to check one out for vacation. That's a great idea because every time I go someplace, it's like I don't want to pay for the Wi-Fi. So that's an awesome idea. Never even thought of it. We have so many great services, and I just truly appreciate seeing all of these things. So, do we poll people? Like I heard you say, kind of mention that. It just kind of gave me an idea. You're saying what devices are you hooking it up for? But do we poll in any way, like other questions, like maybe I don't know, like I know you said what device, but other questions?
Yeah, well, there's a survey card in every one of the devices. And so we did get really good survey results. So we asked them, what are they using them for? Let me see here. I've got all that stuff. Let's see. Wi-Fi to go. Oh, somebody has moved my survey form, so I don't have it. I'm gonna have to go find it. But yeah, it's what type of devices are you connecting to this? What's your primary use? And then we ask a lot of other questions like, was the speed okay? Was it easy to use? Was the checkout period long enough for you? All like those type of questions are what we ask. So, and we do pretty good on getting results for that one. The one that we have a hard time getting results back on is the Chromebook to go. For some reason, the survey comes up on the main screen when you log in, and we just can't get anybody to take the survey. We have like 5 or 6 surveys. We don't know why survey results. So we don't know why that is. But the Wi-Fi to go, we definitely have gotten some good feedback on those. So,
is the Wi-Fi to go is on a piece of paper?
Yeah, it's like a little laminated card in each device, and they can just take the survey. So I think they can't fill it out there. It just has the link to the survey form.
Maybe they just click through. That's one of the dangers of having things come up. Maybe you should put the paper card in with the Chromebooks and see if it increases.
We actually did that. So
did it help?
No.
Dang it.
I don't know why. I don't know why we can't get the Chromebook to go.
Us
People,
IT nerds, we just don't want to do it. Just don't want
I
to do it.
don't know why, but on the Wi-Fi to go, yeah, we did pretty good with those. So, yeah, and we can't do a splash page or anything like that on the Wi-Fi to goes. So because they're T-Mobile's pretty strict about those types of things, so we can't. Like when you go to a hotel or you go to other places, it's when you sign in, you'll get their splash page. We can't seem to do that with theirs. We've put a request in to be able to do that, but so far no luck there.
One suggestion, Brian, can there be a selection when they reserve it?
Good idea.
And
Yeah,
optional, just say, what do you plan to use it for? And, it's not going to affect whether they get it or not, but we may be able to get at least what people are reserving them for.
I'd have to look into that on the catalog side when they reserve it. So, okay.
But
Even
maybe
like if it's an exit survey or something. So yeah, just something so that we get it on either front end, middle end, or back end would be nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But maybe
and what-
some leading questions. I was going to say just some leading questions like, is it going to be used for personal use or work? I mean, not because, if somebody's checking it out and they're like, oh my goodness, they're going to, quiz me on what I'm using this for. I mean, that would be the only thing.
Yep.
Just
We
a-
try to
just
make
a
it so they
thought.
can do it on their time. So,
Yeah, Michael, here, just a thought. I had it as you were talking about, what if you had that page, the survey, and unless you filled it out, you couldn't go to the next thing?
yeah.
Just
We
a
could.
thought.
Okay. We can. Those are all good ideas.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. All right. That's what I have for kind of super basic stats. So anything else on those?
I think this is really good information, Brian. This is Joycelyn, because it is important as we look at kind of where we're placing our resources. We need to be informed by what our patrons are needing and wanting, and this is excellent data for us to do that. And for us as a technology committee, I commend Lori for calling this meeting to look over this, because as a committee, it really informs us as to how important technology is. Sometimes we think it's just in the background, but it's actually a lifeline for a lot of. Thank you.
Yep. I mean, I can tell you that on the public computer sessions, those have always been kind of trending down as there's more broadband adoption in homes and smartphones. I mean, you can do all the basic stuff with your smartphone. You can check the weather in your email and all of those types of things. So those have been trending down, and they haven't gotten back to pre-COVID levels by any means. One of the things we talked about was probably when there was so many lockdown and so many closures that people had to find another way. So maybe we lost some people because they had to find other ways. I know my neighbors are retired. They don't want anything to do with the internet and having a PC, but because they went into the library every other day and just checked their email and did that kind of stuff. But when we were closed, they were like, we got to get a PC now. We have to get, so I think maybe we might have lost a few people due to that. But the Wi-Fi sessions have came back great. And so I think that means that people actually got their own device, but they want to use somebody else's internet. They don't want to have to pay for the internet, or they can't, or maybe they have data limits on the devices that they use, so they want to come in and use it. So the guest Wi-Fi has came back almost 100%. So, and maybe the Chromebooks and the Wi-Fi to go kind of cut into that a little bit also. People can take the devices on the go. That's one of the things we talked about during COVID is trying to make our services flexible, because we didn't know how long these things were going to go on for. And so we know people still need internet and they need devices. So we thought we better do these so that people can have access to these services, whether we're open or closed. So that probably had a little bit of an impact on it.
So I guess my next question would be, Brian, is kind of where you see us going. Like, where are we starting first in August, September?
I'm sorry, there we go. So we do have kind of we didn't budget a lot of big initiatives this year because we did start the Chromebooks and the Wi-Fi to go. And we're just kind of getting back to really business as usual in the last 6 months to, so we didn't plan a lot of larger things, but we do have some stuff going on this year. So that's kind of what I was going to do with the overview for next year, just kind of show you some projects that we have. So if I can get over there to it, I can skip down to that. So obviously we still have the capital plan. So we still have some buildings there that we need to do. We've got to finish up the Woodneath Auditorium. North Oak is in progress. And then we still have Green Valley, Riverside, and East Independence yet to do. And we'll be in some kind of planning phases on those this year. We have a couple of people from IT that spend a lot of time, going over the plans and everything for that. So we know where all of our stuff is going to go. So that's still happening, but starting to wind down a little bit, probably not for Jake. And I know he's on there, so I'm probably speaking out of turn. The other thing we're doing this year is we've kind of, with Dustin's group, the safety and security, we've done a lot of security camera overhauls in the buildings. And so we needed to upgrade a lot of each branch has its own little server that we store all of that video footage on, because we don't want to be sending all that back here to our headquarters facility. It's a lot of overhead. So we're upgrading and replacing all of those little servers in every branch, and also upgrading all the software and support with Dustin and his group. The other kind of big thing that we're doing is we've been hosting our own staff intranet here at headquarters, and that's based on Microsoft SharePoint. And so we're going to be moving that into SharePoint Online this year, probably in the next few months, actually. And that's actually a fairly major move for us. You can think about our staff intranet as almost like our website for our public, but for the staff. So there's tons of department pages and documents and all those things that we have to move. It's a fairly heavy lift for us to do that. So we're moving that to get that kind of new and improved. I think we talked about this as the next thing we talked about as part of the budget is for fundraising and development. We were going to build them a new website. So we had a separate budget line item just for that. I think it was 34 or 35,000, I think is what it was, to build a new website for fundraising. So that will be something that the library systems department and the web developers will be taking care of, is getting that built this year. I think we were eyeballing around the first of the year to start on that. We also have to update our main website navigation to support the Culinary Literacy Center. So it's a specialty branch like genealogy and story center. So we have to add the Culinary Center up at the top and build all of those pages. That's getting pretty close to being done, actually. We've been working on that for a couple of months, but it'll finish up obviously before we open that to the public. So we have pages and everything for people to use. Two services that we started did we start both of those prior to COVID? I think we did. Notary and Passport.
Notary, yes. Passport, we had just started. We're getting ready to take out of the pilot phase when
Right.
COVID hit and all the passport locations and everybody closed down.
Okay. So we started with some software that from a company called Communico. They haven't hardly put any development into that software, and it's becoming pretty hard to manage. So we're actually switching over to another booking software for our customers to be able to sign up for those services. And that's in progress now. That's using Microsoft Bookings. So which is nice because we're already paying for it as part of our 365 subscription. So kind of a freebie. The other thing we're doing is a new kind of ticket system for facilities. So they can, our staff submits requests for new light bulbs or something isn't working. Yeah, work orders. Thank you. That's the smart way to say it. Is work orders. But yeah, so the staff can submit work orders for that. That's in kind of beta testing now. And then when that goes live, we're going to roll that to some other departments too, like IT. So it'll become kind of a system-wide way for people to submit help requests or work orders. So we'll be working on that. Another huge thing that we're working on is our juvenile series and sequels. That's a really cool resource that we have on our website. It has like a very dated back-end database. And so we're rebuilding that. We have our learning management system that we call the MCPL Learning Center. We just deployed that. And so there's just a lot of cleanup and things that we need to do for our staff training system. And then a couple of bigger things that I put at the end that we'll be doing is it's at the end of June 2023, we will be, our contracts will be up for our internet connections and our data connections in our branches. So here at the end of the year, we have to put out all the E-rate bids to rebid out all of our connections to our branches and internet. So we'll be doing that. And depending on what happens when the bids come back for those, that could be a major change for us, or it may just be a simple just re-signing a contract with the current vendor. So it depends on how the bids turn out. So if we have to change vendors to somebody else, then that's kind of a major thing for us because we have to get all of our equipment ready and get every branch ready and then change connections in there, which we've done before. But I do believe that we'll be able to get some fairly significant discounts this next time. So what the process is, we put an E-rate form out at the end of the year. People submit bids for our data connections. We review that, and then we'll have that in time for the budget process starting in March. So we'll know. And then somewhere in there, when we pick a vendor, we'll sign a contract with those vendor or vendors to start July 1st. So we'll have new contracts to start July 1st, 2023.
So when you say end of year, you're talking calendar year, not fiscal year, correct?
Yeah, when we put the E-rate forms out for people to bid, that's end of calendar year, so end of this year. The contracts are aligned with fiscal year, so July 1 to June 30. Kind of throws you off a little bit, but it gives us time to do all the E-rate things. And all of our, if you look at the budget, E-rate accounts for the money we get back from the FCC for E-rate funding is worth about 55% of what we pay. So we get about 55% of that back. So it's fairly significant. So it's something we don't ever want to miss out on for our data connections.
Right. So does that include like the staff cell phones, or do we pay for staff cell phones? Does that include for when you're talking about that, what technology does that include? Just internal Wi-Fi?
It's just, yeah, it only covers the data connections between all of our buildings and our internet connection. That is it. It doesn't cover the cell phones or hotspots or any of that. There is like a schedule too. But we don't quite meet that qualification. And then you can turn in like network hardware and some other stuff like that, but we actually don't quite meet that.
Right. So do we have any like landlines that will be going away with the with that technology, like that we're going to have to replace?
No, it's all based on like fiber stuff now. So unless we change vendors to somebody else, but we'll be requesting fiber connections between all the buildings as part of the E-rate bid. So it'll stay the same technology.
So what about like our elevators and stuff? I know a lot of sites are having to redo things for their elevators because they have to have a designated landline, and then they're kind of getting those involved with that.
So yeah, so for our landlines and our public fax machines, we do have POTS lines, which is just the standard old telephone line. And also for our security system backup line. So like all of our security systems, they can phone home via the network or via a landline if the network is down. And yeah, POTS is very expensive. And we just had a meeting last week with AT&T about that. And in some places, a standard telephone line could cost $300 or $400 a month. Because they're trying to phase those out. So they do have a couple replacement things, and we're taking a look at that now. Some of it is via cell network, some of it is via the network itself. But we're looking into the elevators because it's normally based on city ordinance as to what you have to have in place. And the reason they liked just standard telephone lines is because they didn't require power. They didn't, if there's a power outage or something else, then that line would still work no matter what. So I think if we can ensure there's a battery backup and it's sufficient and all those types of things, but we're looking into that. So we're trying to cut all that old standard telephone stuff off. We still do have quite a bit of it. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's an expense that a lot of companies are having to accrue this year. So I was at a technology convention, and I was surprised at some of the solutions that people are coming up with, because they know so many people are having that same issue. So I may look through my paperwork and see if I can find that company and maybe get you in contact with some of the ones that I heard speak, just to see if there's a solution that they might have that's different than what AT&T might have. So thank you for already staying on top of that.
Yeah, we're looking at some stuff now, because definitely we want to, some of it's just VoIP, we just do it over the network. Some of it is VSL, some of it's, it's going to be a mixed bag probably depending on what it is. So yeah, so that's what but that could be a big deal for us, or that could be not a big deal. So if AT&T, a lot of our fiber connections now are via AT&T. If AT&T wins the bid again, then that'll be an easy lift for us. We sign a contract and just keep moving with them. If not, then we'll have to make some changes, but not anything out of the realm of us being able to do. So, and then the last thing we wanted to look at is our self-checks in our branches are getting super old. And they're nearing a point where we won't be able to get any support for them or anything anymore. They work great, which is unfortunate. They're just getting old enough to where the company wants to cut off support for them. So what we think we're going to do, because we don't know how much this is going to cost, I think what we're going to do is we're going to do an RFQ to kind of get some budgetary numbers on what it might cost to replace all of our self-checks, and then we'll bring it back to this committee, and I'll let you know kind of what our findings are. I can tell you that self-checks from most vendors are not cheap. The company that we currently have, just their base model self-check, no extras. If I had to buy them one at a time, they're like $8,500 each, and we have 120 of them. So that's some quick math for you. Now I know if we buy in bulk and, those types of things, we'll get some quantity discounts there. But yeah, they're pretty expensive. And then adding any kind of payment options like credit card or coin bill or those types of things, which we have currently, also adds quite a bit to the cost. It can add 40 to 50% to the cost of the unit to do that. So they can be $11,000 or $12,000 per unit for those. So
do every one of them need to have that? Or if at each branch they have one that does
Right.
that maybe?
Right now, they all have it, but I don't think in the future they will all have it. I think we'll probably try and figure out where we need them and how many we need them, or how many we need. And so we'll figure out the right number there. I don't think all of them will have it. So
Do we keep track of like how many times each one of those units is being used throughout like a year?
Yep, we do. So, yep, I've got all that. I'm working on that giant spreadsheet right now of all of the past. Actually, I've got like the past 3 years of that data. And I'm going to get with Richie Moman, who's our customer experience officer, and his group, because they take care of the branches. And we're going to try and figure out the exact numbers we need, where we might need payment options and where we don't need payment options. And then we'll try to just come up with a decent number for that. But when we do the RFQ, what we're going to do is we're going to say, we need 120 of these with all payment options, and please itemize it so that we have like detail of what all these pieces are going to cost. It's not, we're not going to buy anything. We're not going to do anything. That way we just know kind of what the units are going to cost. And then we'll start deciding based on budget, what we think we can do and what we can't do. So go ahead, Joycelyn.
Yeah, this is Joycelyn. I just would kind of ask staff, in order to get a true idea of the cost, if you can maybe have an estimate of the savings in terms of staff and salary that would be needing to check books out. Because there is some cost savings by doing this convenience, but there's also some cost savings because it reduces the amount of staff and benefits and management of staff that we would need to do in order to go back to the old stand in line and check out your books. So it would be helpful.
That's a good point. I know that doing a really quick look at it, I think when I looked at just the 21-22 year, it seemed like about the average, I think like we were doing 50% of our physical circ in the branches were done through the self-check units. Now, some of them are down in the 40s and some of them are up in the 60s, but I think system-wide, we were somewhere around 50% of our circulation in branch was done through a self-check. So that's pretty significant. And they've always been that way. But like I said, I'll have branch-specific numbers for each one of them, and so we can tell how many, if we need to adjust numbers or do that kind of stuff in branch. But yeah, so. And so depending on what we decide there, I can bring that back to this group and we can start talking about it and see maybe what we want to do. That definitely will be a board request for that if we want to move forward with it. Depending on when we can start that could be a fairly heavy lift for us also to replace all of those.
I have a question to ask you. It's not on here. I have 3 things actually. Sure. Number one, we had talked about kind of going with that notary and passport services. We had talked about possibly doing that machine. I know that Platte City has one at like that Shipping Solutions, which is like a fingerprinting one. It's also, and there are literally I live in Liberty and the closest one to me was in Platte City. And so, and it's just like a little electronic box, and they get some money for having it there, but to have those available in the library, those companies, just so that people could go to the library and get fingerprinted, it was a pretty quick process. I just didn't know if that's something that we've looked into anymore. That was one thing on my list.
The last little bit of information I had about that is the company that wants to put them in our Platte City branch, when asked how much staff time that was going to take, they said approximately 30 hours a week. So that's almost a full-time staff member. And since we are holding the line on FTEs right now and scrutinizing every single one that we currently have, we'll have to look at that, because if that's 30 hours a week just at one location, then that may or may not be feasible right now.
Right. So that's very interesting because like when I was there, they just stopped. You had to schedule it. So it's like, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there for those type of things. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get my phone to mute. So like 15 minutes at a time, but I know that they paid for some of that. So I wondered if we looked at how much that cost was for that full-time employee, if that having that device there would cover it. So thank you for looking into that, because I do know that there's some payment that's associated with it, because I believe that companies have to pay to have that done, and then the people that have it. So that's definitely something to look into. The other question I had was about the airport. We had talked about, I know it's not a self-checkout device, Brian, but it was some type of a station that we were looking at. Have we gotten any quotes like on what that price would be when the airport terminal is completed?
We haven't. That was just a basic information kiosk.
Okay.
That would go in there. So we're still, the one vendor that I really found that has like a nice touchscreen and all of that kind of stuff that's all pre-built for us is very hard to get a hold of. And I did find those units through a third party, but they said they wouldn't help support them. So I think the company took a big hit during COVID and hasn't really rebounded yet. There are other kiosks out there that we can get that have touchscreens, but we would have to program basically it's like a web build. We'd have to build a whole site just for those and have all the touch interfaces, and that would be a huge deal for us to do that.
Yes.
So I really want to try and get this one company going. Those kiosks were, I want to say they were 9,000 or 10,000 each for those. But they had, one of the cool things about them is they had the phone charging ports in them and all of that stuff. And they had a touchscreen interface so that you could just walk up and touch it and get info and all that. So, and it was all pre-built. There are library systems that have them, and they're really cool, but I've just had real difficulty getting info back from the company on them. They're called Power Tower. So.
Thank you. All right. I'm sorry, one more question.
No, go ahead.
The other thing I had was when you guys are redoing everybody to SharePoint, to have SharePoint online, of course, there's the storage things. Are you going to be going through and kind of doing some quality control for the documents that are being kept to make sure that they're kind of in some type of a format? While you're doing that cleanup, sometimes it's good to get things like standardized. Yep. Do you have anything in place to do that?
Yeah, part of what we're doing is SharePoint used to be, our staff intranet used to be kind of our document collaboration tool. That's really Teams now for us, Microsoft Teams. So while we're moving all of this stuff, if it's a document that groups need to work on and collaborate on, we get it over into Teams or into OneDrive or something like that for them to work on. And then the SharePoint is really just the information portal where we keep like policy and procedure documents, and those are all in PDF format. So yeah, so we are doing a major kind of document cleanup and reorganization while we're doing it, because we don't want SharePoint to be the collaboration piece. We want it to be the piece that a staff member can go to and find out, how much leave do I have? What's our HR policy around this? We don't want them to have to dig around on the site to be able to find those things. So yeah, we are doing kind of a reorganization while we're doing it.
Yes.
The first thing we're doing is we're using a tool that basically picks up the old one and just moves it into the new, just so we can get it all out there. And then we're going to go back and new and improve all of it. So,
yeah, make sure you put that on your wins for the year, because that's a huge undertaking, but it's also something that kind of moving forward when you're thinking about, as things go to the cloud and you're paying, space, whether it's in the cloud or even on site, if you're keeping that data, any type of storage like that becomes very expensive. If you've got outdated things, it's a great time to clean those up. So make sure you keep that on your list of wins for the year, because that is, I mean, that's a lot of companies are saying, okay, what have I got for storage? Do I really need this anymore? Just because everything costs money.
Yeah, that's the cool part. The 365 is the storage is part of it. So it's not like we're going to pay extra to store all that stuff out there. We're just getting it by default.
Okay. And they
so,
don't have a
yeah.
limit?
Yeah, but it's like huge. It's like several terabyte for
Okay.
something like that. So each one of our personal accounts or our staff accounts, I shouldn't call them just personal, but I think each one of us has like a 1 terabyte OneDrive storage, and our email is, yeah, it's all huge. So no problem so far with that.
Okay, great.
Yep. And we do get, for all of our 365 stuff, we do get educational pricing. And so it's really cheap. I mean, it's not free. It'd be great if it was free, but it's not. So we do have educational pricing on all of our services through them. So it makes it much, much cheaper than what a normal enterprise would pay. So.
The last question that I have is, I know that we don't have it built in, but something that I would really like to see is like some type of maybe a traveling 3D printer set that we could have kids that could learn technology to, I mean, one of the things that would be like on my wish list is if we could somehow have like 3D printers have come down. They're like under $300 for a nice 3D printer right now. And to have a, like, if you even had 3 of them or 5 of them that you could do like literacy, because kids learn in different ways, right? And I know that my son won't read a book, but he will read anything that has to do with like how to do something technology, like how to play Minecraft or how to do a 3D printer or how to do that. And I just think I would love to see lots of kids have that opportunity. And I know that you know, that having something that maybe is not, it's not efficient to have it at each library, so that we have to have resources that would go with that. But you kind of already mentioned that we have some technology people that are doing some training that maybe we could have them associated with learning how to do the 3D printers and getting it set up to, or kids could send in their, you know, there's a lot of free websites that do maker designs, and then the kids could just send them to a place to have them printed and pick up. I think it's something that I would personally like to see from the technology of the Mid-Continent Public Library system, that kids, any kid has that opportunity.
Can I get with my group and maybe bring something back to our next meeting and we can talk about that then?
Yeah, because it's just something that's always been on my wish list since I joined. And I know that as we plan for the year, there's things that fall to the side. But if there's a way, I mean, it's just such a small thing, and I think that we could get, you know, even them donated if we needed to, just because prices have come down so much over thousands of dollars what they were before.
I know they're much cheaper. So, yep. Yeah, let me talk with my group and I'll talk with you, Susan. We'll see about getting maybe something on the next time. So, okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Do that. That's all I had. So,
Teresa, did you get any public comment for this meeting?
No, I did not.
okay.
Thanks for asking that. Is there anything else that we need to discuss? All right,
Laura?
so go ahead.
Yeah, just a couple observations. First of all, I absolutely appreciate the leadership you're having for this. I think when I first came on the board, this was a committee that met once a year, and seeing what Brian just shared, the numbers just jumped out about like, if you look at the sessions for Wi-Fi as well as the individuals, that's 500,000. And the magnitude of those numbers just absolutely just leap out. And I think that what you presented, I think, is absolutely something that warrants, you know, when we have board continuing education, that this I think would be just an absolute must to be at the top of it. So Brian, thank you. This was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Really deeply appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay.
And just a personal reflection, about 4 years ago, I had a chance to absolutely have a joyful time when Brian and Steve and the director from Kansas City Public Library presided over the graduation from from Literacy KC. It was up at Woodneath. And not only was it a joyful time for the graduates, but many of them were young adults. And to see the shared absolute sense of joy that was in their kids. Most of them were like, I would guess, elementary school, that their mom and dad had a high school diploma, was something I think that is absolutely among the many things that are meritorious with the library. That I think has to be at the tops. And that's just, I think in terms of true sense of community and service, this is something that, Brian, you guys should be absolutely proud of.
Yeah, it's a huge program.
It does such good.
It's a very moving event to hear them speak about, why they're doing it and what they're getting out of it. I mean, one lady said she was actually going to get demoted if she didn't get her diploma.
In her high set.
It's like, wow. It's very moving to go through it. And like Ron was saying, just the families really get into it and the kids really get into it, and it's a lot of fun. So, but yeah, the program's been great. We've had really great success with it. So
yeah, and this is a way off on a tangent. We're not just accept it as that, but I do volunteer with the treatment courts in Clay and Platte, DWI, and the drug and the mental health courts, and many of them find themselves in the criminal side from things that arise in their lives, which a lot of times are attributed to the lack of the fact they don't have good jobs. They don't have good jobs because they don't have education. And many times education is that they don't have a high school diploma. So to accept again, this is often a tangent, but it's some collaborative efforts maybe. I think there are resources that we could tap into for lots of people entering the program that can do such good. Just the inherent benefit of knowledge, but as employees, as moms and dads, and sometimes as people want to rejoin families, there's such great things can be done.
we have about 75 people in the program right now.
Absolutely. It could be 10 times that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But this was absolutely delight to be. And I'm sure that your time permitted, which I'm sure you don't have much spare time, if this could be on the continuing education, I think that'd
I'll
be
add it to my list.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
No problem.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Do we have a next slide? All right, does anybody have any other business or comments? I think we kind of went through some of the ideas, but Jocelyn.
Yeah, Michael here. I'd just like to make a comment kind of along the lines of what Ron shared, but Brian, I just want to commend you and your staff and everyone. Great report. And you guys are doing a phenomenal job. I really appreciate it. Just being a part and hearing what's actually going on. And anyway, thank you so much. Kudos, big time.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very fortunate to have the staff that I have. I got a great group, and they know what they need to be doing and who they're supposed to be serving every day. And so I'm very fortunate to have the folks I have. So yeah, but thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate it.
Joycelyn, you're muted.
There we go. Brian, thank you. Brian, I was just wondering, now that we've done the upgrades to our facilities, we also did upgrades to our infrastructure in terms of all new wiring and all kind of the bones of our IT within our facilities. Have you seen any outstanding benefits to doing that besides just things actually work that you may care to share?
Things actually work, Joycelyn. No, I think the Wi-Fi was the big one that we got out of it because it really rebounded nicely, and I think we were prepared for that. Because we had really increased the Wi-Fi capacity and the ability to get as many people on it as we could. And so it just, that one rebounded really well. So I'm very happy with that. I think the other thing we got out of it, and it seemed like not a big deal, but it's just all the tech we have in the meeting rooms now for people to come in and use. I mean, we were very low tech on our meeting room and collaboration spaces. And now we have nice projectors and reinforced audio, and we have TVs that people can roll into the collaboration rooms and use. So I think we got a lot of benefit out of that also. But yeah, I think the Wi-Fi and things like that, our ability to manage all of our stuff is greatly improved because of all of this. It takes, much less time to take care of all of it now because we've got, really modern, good equipment now. So I think that helped us a lot also. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so if no one else has any other business or comments, I think we can move on to the next. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Michael, did you say something? You were muted.
Well, I was making a motion to adjourn, but it's already done. I'll
So we
second.
have we had two motions. All right, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so this meeting has come to an end. Brian, again, I want to thank you for preparing this. I do think that it's very beneficial for us to see kind of where we are and what we're working on, because as technology in any type of a library, we have the opportunity to really set the direction of our what is our people, our users. And I just really appreciate that, Brian, that you put all that data together for us for this. And I know that it added extra work, but I do think it's very beneficial work because it helps us to see where we are right now and how we're moving forward, especially with, the budget and people always monitoring those things. We have to be responsible and show the responsibility. And I just, again, am just very happy to be a part of the technology committee because I do think it's very beneficial to our community. So with that, I don't want to keep you any longer, but I just wanted to tell everybody thank you.
Thank you all very much for being here. It means a lot to me that you took time out of your day to be here.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely not extra work for me. This is actually what I'm supposed to be doing. So this is not a problem at all for me to do this. So I'm glad we're meeting more also. So I appreciate it very much.
Good.